Imagine walking into the same gym where everyone once laughed at you, where the echoes of their cruel words still sting in your chest. Imagine the girl who called you worthless in front of the entire school locking eyes with you, her face draining of color, and then collapsing to the floor the moment she realizes who you've become. That day didn't happen overnight. It was years in the making. And if you think this is just another story about money, cars, and revenge, you're wrong. Because what led to that moment will make you question everything you believe about pain, justice, and the sweet, dangerous taste of triumph. Back in high school, I wasn't someone you'd notice unless you wanted someone to laugh at. The hallways smelled of cheap deodorant, pizza from the cafeteria, and the faint stench of gym socks. Lockers slammed shut like gunfire, sneakers squeaked across polished floors, and groups of kids clustered together like packs of wolves. And me? I was prey. My clothes never fit right. Hand-me-downs from cousins who'd outgrown them years before. My sneakers were scuffed, my backpack torn, the zipper barely hanging on. Every step I took felt like I was walking on glass, waiting for the next laugh, the next insult, the next shove. And at the center of it all was her, Jessica Martin. Jessica wasn't just popular. She was the school captain of the cheerleading squad, prom queen 2 years in a row, the girl teachers adored and boys tripped over themselves to impress. Her hair always perfect, her smile blinding, her voice dripping with fake sweetness unless you were me. I'll never forget the moment that changed everything. It was sophomore year, a Monday morning, the kind where the sky is gray and even the air feels heavy. I was late to class, juggling books and binders, when the strap of my backpack finally snapped. Everything spilled onto the floor, papers, pens, the little dignity I had left. The hallway froze. Then the laughter began. Jessica's laugh was the loudest. She pointed at me, her voice slicing through the crowd. Look at him. Pathetic. Worthless. He doesn't even belong here. The word worthless echoed off the lockers, bouncing from one kid to the next until it became a chant. Worthless. 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 I bent down to pick up my things, my hands trembling, my face burning. My vision blurred with tears, but I refused to let them fall. Not there. Not in front of them. That night, I locked myself in the bathroom at home. Staring at the mirror, I whispered the word over and over again. Worthless. Worthless. Until something inside me snapped. I made a promise to myself. One day, I'd prove them all wrong. One day, I'd make sure Jessica Martin never forgot the name of the boy she tried to destroy. The years that followed were brutal. I didn't have the luxury of football games or dances. After school, I went straight to work at a greasy diner on the edge of town. The smell of burnt fries clung to my skin, my fingernails stained with dish soap, my legs aching from standing for hours. Jessica and her friends would come in sometimes, dressed in their cheer uniforms, giggling as they slid into a booth. And every time they saw me in that stained apron, carrying trays of burgers, they'd smirk like the universe itself had confirmed what she'd said. Worthless. But I kept my head down. I saved every tip. Every crumpled dollar bill. At home, when I wasn't working, I was reading. Books about business, money, investing, things none of my classmates cared about. They posted photos from parties. I posted nothing. They chased short-lived fun. I chased a way out. Still, the bullying never stopped. Once, during junior year, I mustered up the courage to attend a football game. I thought maybe if I stayed quiet, nobody would notice me. But Jessica did. She leaned toward her friends and whispered just loud enough. Why is he even here? Doesn't he know losers don't get invited? Their laughter followed me all the way to the bleachers. I wanted to leave. My chest burned, my throat tight. But I forced myself to stay. Because somewhere deep down, I knew this pain was fuel. There were nights I almost broke. Nights I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, asking myself if it was worth it. If maybe Jessica was right. If maybe I was worthless. But then, something happened that changed everything. Senior year, our school brought in a guest speaker. A local entrepreneur who'd grown up in poverty and built a chain of businesses from nothing. He talked about rejection, about failure, about using pain as a stepping stone. I sat in the back of that auditorium, my heart pounding. His words lit a fire in me. For the first time I thought, maybe I can do this. Maybe my story doesn't end here. After graduation, while Jessica and her friends packed for college dorms, I stayed behind. I didn't have money for tuition, but I had something else, determination. I started small, buying and reselling old electronics online, fixing up broken phones and flipping them. My mom's basement became my workshop. Packages stacked in the corner, bubble wrap littered the floor, the hum of my old laptop filling the nights. At first it was humiliating. Watching classmates post about frat parties and campus life while I taped boxes in a dim basement. But then the sales started picking up. Slowly. Steadily. For every scam that nearly broke me, for every customer who tried to rip me off, I pushed harder. I refused to quit. Because in my head, I still heard Jessica's voice. Worthless. And every sale, every dollar, was proof she was wrong. It wasn't a straight path. There were months where I barely broke even. Times I stared at my bank account, wondering if I should just quit and get a normal job. But I kept experimenting. E-commerce led to freelancing in tech support. Tech support led to consulting for small businesses. Consulting led to networking, and networking led to investments. I read obsessively, watched every tutorial, devoured every article about startups, finance, marketing. By the time I was 24, I wasn't just surviving, I was thriving. I launched my first startup. It failed. Launched another. That one failed too. But the third one? It exploded. A tech consulting firm that specialized in helping small businesses move online. The timing was perfect. The demand massive. Clients poured in, referrals spread, revenue soared. I hired employees, opened an office. For the first time in my life, I didn't feel like the boy hiding in the bathroom. I felt unstoppable. By 28, I signed a deal that changed everything. Millions in funding. My name in articles. And with it came the luxuries I'd once only seen in magazines, penthouse apartments, tailored suits, and yes, cars. But none of it compared to the satisfaction of knowing I'd done it. I had clawed my way out of the pit they'd thrown me into. But here's the thing. No matter how many zeros appeared in my bank account, no matter how many luxury cars I drove, I could never forget high school. I could never forget the way Jessica's laughter echoed off those lockers. And I knew, deep down, fate wasn't done with us yet. The message came on a random Tuesday. A former classmate slid into my DMs. Hey, we're organizing a 10-year high school reunion. You should come. At first I laughed. Me? Go back there? Back to the place where I'd been humiliated, broken, left for dead inside? But then I stared at the message a little longer. What if I did go? What if I walked back into that gym, not as the worthless kid they remembered, but as the man I had become? The thought rooted itself in my mind and refused to leave. The night before the reunion, I stood in my garage, staring at the car I had chosen. A sleek, jet black Lamborghini Huracan. The kind of car that doesn't just arrive, it announces itself. The kind of car that turns heads, silences crowds, and demands respect. I ran my hand across the polished hood, my reflection staring back at me. This wasn't about showing off. It wasn't even about revenge. It was about that boy in the bathroom mirror. The boy who believed he was worthless. I owed this to him. I slipped into a tailored black suit, the fabric hugging my shoulders perfectly. Adjusted my tie in the mirror. Took a deep breath. And when I slid behind the wheel, the engine roared to life like a beast finally set free. The closer I drove to the school, the faster my heart pounded. Not out of fear, out of anticipation. Because I knew, tonight, everything would change. The school parking lot buzzed with life. Groups of old classmates huddled together, laughing, swapping stories. Minivans and modest sedans lined the rows. And then me. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Phones lifted. People pointed. Whispers spread like wildfire. And then I saw her. Jessica Martin. Still beautiful. Still surrounded by admirers. Still smiling that same smug smile. Until her eyes landed on me. The smile vanished. Her face drained of color. Her body swayed. And then she collapsed to the ground. She collapsed. Just like that. One moment she was standing tall in her expensive heels, laughing with her friends, tossing her hair the way she always did back in high school. And the next moment, she crumbled to the floor, clutching her chest as if the air had been stolen from her lungs. For a second, the entire parking lot froze. No music, no chatter, no nervous laughter, just silence. And all eyes on me. Imagine walking into the very place where people once called you worthless, and suddenly, the same people stare at you as if you were a legend, a ghost from the past, a reality they couldn't process. That's what it felt like. I gripped the steering wheel tighter, my knuckles pale against the black leather. The roar of my Lamborghini still echoed in the night, like thunder refusing to fade. My heart was pounding so loud I thought people could hear it from the car. And in that moment, a part of me wanted to laugh. Another part wanted to cry. And a darker part wanted revenge. But I didn't move yet. The crowd was already circling Jessica, people shouting, some bending over her, some pulling out their phones. "Is she okay?" Someone yelled. "Somebody call 911. Another voice echoed. "Jessica! Jessica, talk to us!" Her friend screamed. I finally pushed the door up, the Lamborghini's scissor door cutting through the tension like a blade. I stepped out slowly, deliberately, letting every second stretch. The cool night breeze hit my face, and the scent of expensive perfume, sweat, and fear filled the air. And then I heard it. A whisper. "Oh my God, it's him!" A murmur rippled through the crowd. Names bounced around like echoes. "Is that? No way. It can't be him. It's really him. Look at the car, look at the suit." I straightened my jacket, adjusted my cufflinks, and took one step forward. Jessica's eyes fluttered open. She blinked rapidly, dazed, trying to focus. When her gaze finally landed on me, I saw it, the recognition. And with it, the collapse of everything she thought she knew about life. Her lips trembled. "You!" That word was like fuel to the fire inside me. Yes, me. The same boy you called worthless. The same boy you mocked in front of everyone. The same boy you told would never amount to anything. And now, I was standing in front of you, with everything you once said I'd never have. I crouched down slowly, close enough so she could see me clearly, but not close enough to touch. Her friends were still hovering, confused, protective, but they didn't stop me. "Breathe," I said softly, my voice calm but sharp. "It's not your heart giving out. It's just the shock of reality hitting you." Her eyes welled up with tears, and for a moment, I almost felt pity. Almost. But then flashes of the past came rushing back. Her laughter echoing in the cafeteria. Her words cutting through me like knives. "Worthless. You're absolutely worthless." The way the crowd had laughed with her. The way teachers had pretended not to hear. The way I had walked home that day, fists clenched, eyes burning, wondering if maybe they were right. Worthless. The word still stung, even now. But here's the thing. I wasn't worthless. And tonight, the whole world was about to see that. I stood up and looked around at the crowd. "She'll be fine," I announced, my voice steady, confident. "She just needs a moment to process." Some laughed nervously. Some nodded. Some kept staring at me like I was a dream they weren't sure was real. And then, without saying another word, I turned and began walking toward the reunion hall. The scissor door closed behind me with a hiss, the Lamborghini standing tall under the dim lights like a beast guarding its master. Every step I took felt like it echoed through the pavement. I could feel their eyes following me, whispers chasing me, phones snapping pictures. And Jessica? She was still on the ground, frozen. The moment I stepped inside, conversations stopped. It was like someone hit pause on a movie. Then the murmurs began again, louder this time. No way. Is that really him? He looks different. So different. Of course I did. I wasn't the skinny kid in oversized thrift store clothes anymore. I wasn't the boy with tired eyes from working 2 part-time jobs just to help my mom pay rent. Now I was sharper, stronger. My tailored suit hugged my frame. My shoes gleamed. And the confidence in my stride? That was something money couldn't buy. It came from survival. A group of guys who had once shoved me into lockers tried to play it cool, pretending they didn't notice me. But I noticed them. I remembered every face, every insult, every shove. And suddenly, I realized something. This wasn't about revenge anymore. This was about truth. About showing them who I really was. I grabbed a glass of champagne from a passing waiter, lifted it slightly in greeting to no one in particular, and made my way to the center of the hall. That's when I heard the gasps. Jessica had walked in. Her friends were supporting her, fanning her, whispering frantically. But her eyes never left me. Not once. And the room went silent again. Ladies and gentlemen, the host's voice boomed over the microphone, nervous but trying to sound cheerful. Look who just walked in, our very own success story. Applause erupted, hesitant at first, then louder. People clapped, some cheered, some whistled. Phones went up again, flashing. And all the while, Jessica just stood there, pale, trembling, staring. I raised my glass slightly and smiled. "Thank you," I said, my voice calm, measured. "But I think tonight is less about me, and more about truth." The crowd quieted instantly, curiosity sparking in their eyes. I lowered the glass and locked eyes with Jessica. "You called me worthless once," I said, my voice carrying across the room. "And maybe you thought you were right. But tonight, you're about to learn what worthless really means." Gasps. Murmurs. All eyes darted between us. Jessica's lips parted, her face flushed red, then pale again. She shook her head slowly, as if trying to deny reality itself. And I just stood there waiting. Because the real story was only just beginning. She shook her head, her voice trembling. I didn't mean it back then." The crowd leaned in closer. Every ear strained, every phone ready to capture the moment. I tilted my head. "Didn't mean it? You said it loud enough for the whole cafeteria to hear. You laughed while I sat there, choking on humiliation. Do you remember that?" Her eyes filled with tears. She tried to step forward, but her friends gripped her arms tightly, afraid she might faint again. I took another sip of champagne, my pulse steady. "Worthless. That's what you called me. Over and over again. And the worst part, I looked around the hall. Everyone here laughed with you." Silence. Thick, suffocating silence. Faces dropped. Some looked at the floor. Some tried to glance at me, then away. The guilt in their expressions was almost satisfying. Every insult, every shove, every moment I felt invisible. It didn't come from one person. It came from all of you. A woman near the front muttered, "We were kids." I locked eyes with her. Kids grow up. But words? They don't fade. They stick. They shape people. They nearly broke me. Gasps filled the air again. My voice was trembling now, not from fear, but from the weight of truth. I lowered the glass and pointed gently toward Jessica. She was the loudest voice. But she wasn't the only one. And tonight, I'm not here to humiliate her. I'm here to show her, to show all of you, what happens when the worthless kid refuses to give up. Jessica finally broke down, tears streaking her mascara. I'm sorry, she whispered, voice cracking. But I wasn't done. Not yet. Sorry. I echoed. Sorry doesn't erase the years I spent believing you were right. Sorry doesn't erase the nights I worked until sunrise, just to prove I wasn't nothing. Sorry doesn't erase the times I looked at myself in the mirror and wondered if maybe I should just disappear. The crowd gasped again. Some covered their mouths. A man near the back muttered, "Oh my God." Jessica staggered forward. I was young. I didn't know any better. I was cruel, yes. But people change. I stared at her, then nodded slightly. People do change. But not always in the way you expect. I could feel the story inside me clawing its way out. This wasn't just about me. This was about every kid who ever walked through those halls, feeling less than human. So I told them. I told them about the nights delivering pizza, wearing a uniform 2 sizes too big, while Jessica and her friends drove past in their shiny cars, laughing out the window. I told them about working construction in the summer heat, my hands blistered, my back broken, while others enjoyed vacations. I told them about the rejections, job after job, interview after interview, all while the word worthless replayed in my head like a broken record. And then, I told them about the turning point. How I taught myself coding from borrowed library books. How I started freelancing, building websites at night after long shifts. How I saved every single dollar, investing in myself, failing, trying again, and failing again until something clicked. And when it finally did, I said, voice trembling with pride, I built a company. A company that people now call one of the fastest growing in the state. A company that gave jobs to people who were once ignored, like I was. Applause broke out. Real, thunderous applause this time. Some stood. Some clapped with tears in their eyes. Jessica covered her mouth, sobbing uncontrollably. I walked closer, stopping just a few feet away from her. Do you know what worthless looks like now, Jessica? Her lips quivered. No. It looks like doubting someone before they've even had a chance to prove themselves. It looks like mocking the kid who's already struggling. It looks like crushing a spirit that's still trying to fly. Tears rolled down her face. Her knees buckled, and her friends caught her again. I leaned in slightly, my voice dropping to a whisper only she in the front row could hear. You called me worthless. But tonight, it's not me lying on the ground, broken. It's you. The crowd gasped again. Phones captured every second. And then, I stepped back. But here's the thing. I didn't want to destroy her. That wasn't the point. I took a deep breath. I don't say this to hurt you, Jessica. I say this to teach you. Because one word almost ruined me. And maybe tonight, my words can save someone else. The crowd was silent. The air electric. Every single one of you has power. With your words. With your laughter. With your silence. You can make someone believe they're nothing, or you can help them believe they're everything. So the next time you're tempted to tear someone down, ask yourself, what if you're wrong about them? Applause erupted again, louder, stronger, people cheering, shouting my name. Some wiped their eyes. Even the bullies from back then were clapping, though their shame was written all over their faces. Jessica, she fell to her knees, crying into her hands. Not from humiliation this time, but from the weight of realization. And me? I didn't gloat. I didn't laugh. I simply turned, walked back toward the Lamborghini, and let the sound of the applause follow me out into the night. I paused at the door, looking back one last time. Worthless, I said softly, is just a word. And tonight, I proved it wrong. The door hissed shut. The engine roared to life. And as I pulled away, leaving the reunion and the ghosts of my past behind me, I knew one thing for certain. I wasn't worthless. I never had been. And for the first time in my life, everyone else finally knew it too. So let me ask you something. Have you ever been called worthless? Have you ever had someone look you in the eyes and make you feel like you'd never be good enough? Remember this. Their words don't define you. They don't know your future. Only you do. Drop a comment below and tell me, what's one word someone once used against you that you've now proven wrong? Because trust me, your story isn't over yet.